You were told emotions make you weak, that reacting fast means you lack control, that feeling deeply clouds judgment. They were wrong, and the proof has been living inside you the entire time. The first sign was always awareness. You noticed shifts before words changed, a pause too long, a laugh that felt forced. You sensed when something was off, while others stayed comfortable. That awareness was not anxiety, it was perception running ahead of language. There is a childhood memory. A room goes quiet suddenly, adults still smiling, your chest tightens anyway. You knew something had changed. Hours later, the truth surfaced. You were not surprised. You never were. This early detection is emotional intelligence. It kept you alert long before anyone valued it. The second sign was empathy that arrived without effort. You felt what others hid: shame, fear, excitement. You absorbed it instantly, sometimes against your will. That depth overwhelmed you, but it also connected you. There is a scene of comforting someone without knowing why they needed it. Later they told you, you already knew. This was not coincidence, it was attunement. The third sign appeared as overthinking. You replayed interactions endlessly, not because you were broken, but because your mind was processing layers others never noticed. Tone, timing, meaning behind words. They called it rumination. You were integrating data. The fourth sign was exhaustion after social settings. Crowds drained you. Conflict lingered. You needed silence to recover. That was not weakness. That was the cost of carrying extra information. There is a memory of leaving a gathering early, walking alone under streetlights, breathing deeper with every step. Distance restored clarity. That was self-regulation trying to emerge. The fifth sign was early discomfort around dishonesty. You sensed mismatch between words and energy. Lies unsettled you deeply. You felt crazy when others ignored it. Later, when truth emerged, the room acted shocked. You were already calm. Being early feels lonely. The sixth sign showed up as strong reactions to injustice. Something unfair ignited you instantly. Your body reacted before logic formed. Anger rose fast, then guilt followed. That anger was not impulsivity, it was values activating at speed. The seventh sign was intuition that proved itself repeatedly. You felt when decisions were wrong long before evidence appeared. You doubted yourself because others dismissed it. There is a memory of warning someone quietly. They smiled and moved on. Weeks later, consequences arrived. You felt sad, not validated. The eighth sign was sensitivity to environment. Light, sound, tension affected you physically. You adjusted instinctively. Others mocked this awareness. You were not fragile. You were finely tuned. The ninth sign was rapid emotional recovery when supported properly. Given understanding and space, you recalibrated quickly. When shamed, you spiraled. Context mattered. This revealed adaptability, not instability. The 10th sign was leadership without noise. People confided in you, trusted you, felt seen. You did not dominate rooms. You oriented them. There is a moment you remember clearly. Conflict rising. Voices loud. You said very little. The room followed your calm. That was emotional authority. All 10 signs were misread as problems. Sensitivity, intensity, overthinking, exhaustion, reactivity. In truth, they were intelligence without training. Underestimation hurt deeply because you internalized it. You stopped trusting your reads. You muted instincts. You learned to doubt clarity. That betrayal of self caused the psychological break. Exhaustion, numbness, a sense that something essential was being wasted. In that stillness, a realization formed. What if you were not too emotional? What if you were emotionally precise? This is where rebuilding begins. The first transformation is validation. You stop calling yourself dramatic. You recognize perception. You name it accurately. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You were built different. The second transformation is containment. You learn to observe emotion without absorbing it. Awareness becomes skill, not burden. The third transformation is application. You use emotional intelligence deliberately, timing, boundaries, silence, action. A vision returns of a rising storm you sensed early. Others laughed. You prepared quietly. When chaos arrived, you were ready. This is emotional intelligence matured. These signs were never flaws. They were signals of capacity. The rebuild begins when you stop trying to feel less and start learning how to aim what you feel. Emotional intelligence without discipline feels like drowning. With structure, it becomes navigation through storms others never see coming. The 11th realization comes quietly. You notice that your emotions respond faster than thought, but they also resolve faster when you act with intention. This speed is not instability, it is responsiveness. There is a memory of anger rising fast, then dissolving just as quickly once action was taken. Others held grudges, you moved on. That elasticity is emotional agility, not weakness. The 12th sign reveals itself as pattern recognition in people. You notice cycles in behavior long before outcomes repeat. You sense when apologies will not change actions. You predict fallout without cynicism. There is a flashback of trusting words once, then watching behavior contradict them. The second time you noticed sooner. The third time you walked away calmly. Learning happened quickly. The 13th sign is your relationship with guilt. You feel it intensely, but you also learn from it rapidly. Guilt becomes feedback, not identity, when processed correctly. There is a scene of you sitting alone after a mistake, chest heavy, mind racing. Then clarity arrived. You adjusted. You did not repeat the error. Growth accelerated. The 14th sign appears as sensitivity to timing. You know when to speak and when to wait. You sense readiness in others. You feel when a room is open or closed. There is a memory of holding back an insight because the space was not ready. Hours later, you shared it and it landed cleanly. That restraint was wisdom. The 15th sign is emotional honesty with yourself. You cannot fake enthusiasm. You cannot ignore misalignment. Your body reacts quickly to truth. This made you seem inconsistent to others. In reality, you were congruent internally. You moved when meaning existed. The 16th sign is rapid de-escalation. You calm faster than others once safety returns. Your nervous system resets quickly when shame is removed. There is a memory of conflict that could have spiraled. You took space. You returned steady. Others stayed reactive. Control was reclaimed. The 17th sign is empathy, paired with boundaries. You care deeply, but once trained, you stop bleeding for everyone. This was hard. Saying no felt cruel. Distance felt like abandonment. Then energy returned. Clarity sharpened. The 18th sign is your intolerance for emotional manipulation. You sense it immediately. Guilt trips, passive aggression, power games. They exhaust you because you see them clearly. There is a scene of someone testing you emotionally. Old you would over-explain. New you disengaged. The game ended instantly. The 19th sign is leadership through presence. People feel regulated around you, not because you fix them, but because your calm gives permission. There is a memory of standing in chaos, voices loud, tension high. You said little. Breathing slowed. The room followed. The 20th sign is resilience through meaning. You endure more when purpose exists. When it does not, your system refuses. This refusal was misread as laziness. It was intelligence rejecting waste. All these signs were punished early. Too sensitive, too intense, too emotional. You learn to suppress instead of refine. The psychological break arrives when suppression fails. Burnout. Numbness, a sense of betrayal by your own depth. In that collapse, a new question forms. What if emotional intelligence requires training, not reduction? This is the pivot. The first strategy is emotional literacy. You learn to name feelings precisely. Anger, disappointment, fear, excitement. Precision reduces overwhelm. The second strategy is somatic grounding. You regulate through body first. Breath, movement, temperature. The nervous system listens faster than logic. The third strategy is strategic empathy. You decide where care creates impact. You withdraw from what drains. Compassion becomes selective. A vision returns of a storm you once stood inside, soaked and shaking. Now you watch clouds form and choose shelter or action. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You were built different. Emotion was never the enemy. Ignorance of it was. This rebuild is only halfway complete. The final phase will transform sensitivity into authority, and authority changes everything. Authority does not silence emotion, it harnesses it. This is where emotional intelligence stops being something you explain and becomes something people feel when you enter the room. You sense it immediately. The storm inside you no longer surges outward, it settles inward. Awareness remains wide, reaction slows, choice appears. This is command. There is a vision now. You standing still while tension rises around you. Voices sharpen, eyes search for permission to escalate. You breathe once, deeper than the rest. The moment bends. That bend is influence. You no longer rush to respond. You let emotion finish delivering information before action begins. This patience transforms speed into precision. There was a time when feeling deeply meant losing control. Now it means gaining leverage. Your emotional intelligence has matured into presence. People feel oriented around you, not managed, not fixed, seen. This presence was earned through pain. There is a memory of a cracked crown you once wore. Believing leadership belonged to colder minds, you tried to numb yourself to fit. It failed. The crown shattered. Now it reforges, solid, balanced, carried without strain because it fits who you are. Under pressure, you slow down. Others escalate. The contrast creates gravity. Decisions land cleaner. Conflict de-escalates without force. This is masculine restraint refined by empathy. You still feel everything. That never changed. The difference is direction. Emotion informs strategy, not impulse. You trust your reads now because you verified them repeatedly. You stop gaslighting yourself. You stop asking for permission to know. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You were built different. Different enough to perceive early, strong enough to wait, wise enough to act precisely. Your boundaries hold. You no longer bleed for rooms that drain you. You choose proximity carefully. Energy stays intact. There is a flashback of walking away from chaos instead of fixing it. That choice once felt selfish. Now it feels surgical. Surgery saves lives. Your empathy becomes selective. Your compassion becomes fierce. You protect what matters and release what does not. This selectivity multiplies impact. Time blindness still exists. Emotional surges still arrive. You build buffers. You design exits. Recovery is swift and intentional. Self-trust grows because self-abandonment ended. Comparison dissolves completely. You stop wishing you were less emotional. You realize numbness was never strength. Precision was. Your work reflects this clarity. Words land cleanly. Ideas arrive at the right moment. Influence expands without noise. People may still underestimate you. Let them. Surprise remains leverage. You move quietly, prepared. There is a memory of sensing a storm hours before it broke. Others laughed. You prepared. When chaos arrived, you were already positioned. That is not luck. That is emotional intelligence trained. The storm imagery shifts one final time. Fire burns clean. Steel holds edge. Shadows obey light. The throne was internal all along. You understand the truth fully now. These signs were never problems. They were indicators of capacity. Sensitivity was radar. Intensity was fuel. Overthinking was integration. Exhaustion was a boundary unmet. Once trained, this system becomes rare. You no longer chase validation. You no longer explain perception. You demonstrate outcomes. This is leadership without volume. This is wisdom earned through feeling deeply and surviving it. Stand steady inside that truth. Protect your radar. Aim it deliberately. Let emotions serve creation, not self-destruction. Subscribe for the next ascent.